Hi, my name's Doug. Welcome back to Vinogradofff for another exciting project. On this one, we're making a bunk bed. So this was kind of a unique project. We had a client approach us and ask us to rebuild a bunk bed in queen size and using full hardwood, top to bottom, which means we had no mechanical attachments, no brackets or anything like that. It was all done with custom old school wooden joinery, and the entire thing was made out of dimensional black walnut. So for this project, we're using 8/4 black walnut out of our dimensional stock, which means that to get some of these larger pieces, the 6x6 beams, we had to do full lamination, full milling, all that kind of fun stuff. For this project, the client challenged us to do everything with old school traditional joinery, which means no brackets, no modern domino machines. This was all hand-cut tenons and hand-cut mortises. Some of the challenges that we had when we were doing some of this joinery on Canadian Black Walnut is walnut is a really dense material. Normally a lot of these joinery is done on softwood such as like pine and cedar and things like that. When doing it on Canadian Black Walnut, it requires really sharp tools and really high speeds. So it actually took quite a while. There's a lot of different hand-cut joints for this project. So each one of the pillars had somewhere between 6 and 10 hand-cut mortises. And all of the individual pieces, they also had like this L-shaped kind of joint to everything, which took a long time to cut. We do have a really nice saw that helps out with these things, but doing all of the layouts and making sure everything was kind of nice and crisp and precise, it took quite a while. And this project was also done simultaneously with a lot of other projects that we had happening in the showroom. So we kind of had to space this one out over the course of a few weeks in order to make sure that we had kind of time for everything. And it takes a little bit to kind of like jump back in to a process like this and remember where you left off and remember all your math and everything like that. So it took longer than I would have liked to kind of get everything ready for a dry fit. Yeah, that happened. So turns out all classic hardwood joinery, when you're building it out of Canadian Black Walnut, really heavy. And those really sharp tools make really sharp joints. So we were doing a test fit assembly in our nice showroom space, and we try to keep this space nice and clean. So I foolishly popped my work boots off for a quick second, and one of the pieces decided to take an issue with that, and it bounced right off of one of the ladder rungs and it aimed straight for my toe. And it broke my toe in 2 places, which means for the rest of this build, you'll see me moving a little bit funnier than normal. So we had all hands on deck to try to dry fit all of these pieces together in the showroom. We got a lovely little time-lapse shot of the entire process, and it really took all hands.
Yeah, everybody had to be together working on this. We had some people holding clamps, some people holding pieces up, some people malleting. We needed everybody there, and it was like this giant game of Twister trying to hold it and fit it all together. And we had to make sure that everybody was there so nobody got injured.
Yeah, it was a little bit like right hand south pillar, right hand,
yeah,
it was wild. When we were doing this build for the first time, it probably took maybe 3 hours to get everything set and assembled exactly the way we wanted, because we had to kind of like figure out how we were going to bring this whole thing together for the first time and really like plan out our avenue of attack. because when we were actually building this thing, it doesn't actually fit through the doorway of the room we put it in, so we had to transfer everything on site and then do the final build once we have all the pieces inside the room.
Yeah, it would be nice to have it fully assembled and then just drop it right in place, but unfortunately, due to the size of this project, we had to do an assemble on site.
The reason we actually did a dry fit in the showroom here is we wanted to be able to make sure all of that joinery and fastenery fit together properly here so that we could do any edits we needed inside the shop, as opposed to when we already got glue on the project and we are all the way up north at a remote cottage and we don't have access to all of our tools.
Yeah, it's kind of like the measure twice, cut once situation.
Once we were sure that all the joinery fit, we passed it off to Cole, who was able to start doing all of the final sanding, and he was able to get some of the preliminary coats on all of these pieces before we took it up north and did a final coat. So how was the process for doing the regular coats?
Regular coats are pretty easy. Just there's a lot of big moving parts, so the most hard part was just moving them around and doing 2 sides at a time so I didn't get any blemishes on the finish. But other than that, it was just a standard procedure. Roll coat with Osmo 3043, wait till it's dry, sand in between coats, and then do a nice buff coat. Once we got it up to the cottage, I went over and did a final coat, so now it's nice and shiny.
So once we had a base coat rolled onto all of our pieces, we wrapped everything up and we took it all the way up north to this nice remote cottage where we unloaded everything. We had to bring everything upstairs and cram it into this teeny tiny little room, and I think we brought maybe 5 guys up there in order to do a full assembly on site. And this is where we did our full glue assembly, so all of these joints are permanently fastened together. Once we had everything, all of the tenons inserted in all of the mortises, using a 3/8 bit and some 3/8 hard maple dowels, we did some final joinery on site. We used a flush cut to kind of trim all of those dowels. Cole did a little polish on site. And then once everything was up to snuff and then situated in the proper positioning, Cole went back over everything with a final buff coat to make sure that the finish looked absolutely perfect. So that's it, a giant queen size bunk bed fully made out of Canadian Black Walnut, all classic old school hand cut joinery. So this was a super unique, super time intensive process, but we really love the final result. It looks stunning, and honestly, we're really proud of it. So join us next time at Vinogradofff.com. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, and always remember to let your home grow. We'll see you next time.